Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, man, stuff is just happening rapid fire. I'm telling you what. I'm sending my stuff. Like, usually I've got 3 videos to do a day, and there's only 3 in my inbox. And then I'm finding myself now, not in then, but now I'm finding myself 4, 5, 6 videos. And then I can, when I get home, which of those 6 is really the most important? And I can actually pick, rather than have 3 good ones automatically, and that's all I've got for the day. Oh, I've got 6 good ones, but which of those 6 are the best? And let me just do those 3. And then sometimes I'll take one for the next day, or maybe I'll do a 4th one, throw you a little bonus. But I got a bunch of my email just from today only. Just from today only. So, again, zero hedge, man. You know how I was saying that I used to come out and do 1 video a day, or once every few days, then 1 a day. Then it became like 2 a day, but I wouldn't do the weekends. Then it was 2 a day plus the weekends, like maybe 1 Saturday or 1 Sunday or both. And then it's like 2 every single day. And now I'm literally at 3 a day. Remember how I keep telling you about that? It's not that I'm having to, find stuff. It's here. It's right in front of my face. Zero Hedge didn't used to pump out as many articles per day as they do now. You go to Zero Hedge and look at the date, because right there under each article, it's just a link to the main article, but you will see the date. Hang on one second. Hang on. All right, so anyways, you go to Zero Hedge and you just, March 30th. Like almost the front page with like, a dozen or more articles are all today. You hit the next button to go to the next page, and there's still some trickling over to that page. It didn't used to be like that. Zero Hedge didn't used to update their site that frequently. Why are they? Because there's crap happening. All this stuff, again, I'm telling you, we are heading quickly to what I like to call is that climax, when everything is just, okay, we got a problem. We can't fudge these things anymore. It's being dealt with now. Economy, floor knocked out of it, markets go down, that kind of stuff. It's just incredible. I've got other sites and things, that I check every day, and I grab articles like Wolf Street or the Economic Collapse blog, Zero Hedge. I have several that I check throughout the day. But I'm just floored at how many Zero Hedge can pump out nowadays. And they're not just pumping them out to pump them out. Let's get more viewers, It's legitimate stuff. So, like I said, I'm titling this one Huge. This will cause the pensions to blow up. And Zero Hedge has a great bit of information here for you. Market has its head buried deep in the sand, posted with permission and written by David Kranzler Research, you know him. Several black swans are looming, which could inflict a financial nuclear accident on the U.S. markets and financial system. I say black swans in quotes because a limited audience is aware of these issues, potentially catastrophic problems that are curiously ignored by the mainstream financial media and financial markets. The most immediate problem is the Treasury debt ceiling. The Treasury is now projected to run out of cash by midsummer. Of course, in the spurious manner in which the markets evaluate the next trade, July may as well be a decade away. But my best guess, or by my best guess, is that the market assumes that after drawn-out staging of DC's version of Kabuki Theater, Congress will raise the debt ceiling probably up to $22 trillion. Then the Fed will extend its highly secretive swap operations to foreign ally central banks, hint Belgium and Switzerland, in order to fund the onslaught of Treasury issuance that will ensue. Problem solved. Or is it? Note, Plan B would be another one of Trump's bewildering executive orders removing the debt ceiling. Plan B is another form of fiat currency issuance. The second black swan, seen by some but invisible to most, is the ongoing collapse in the shopping mall business model, erroneously blamed on the combative growth of online retailing. But when I look at the actual numbers, that argument smells foul. And now you know why I keep talking about real estate constantly. Real estate, retail space, retail apocalypse, Sears going down, this one going down, that one going down, retail stores closing shop. I showed you the picture. There's 12 pictures, New York City, for rent, for lease, for rent, for lease. We're dying. We're dropping the rent massively. Please come in. That's the data. So this isn't all, well, everyone shops on Now today. And I've said it myself. Look, I go to Amazon. My wife's out of control, if I'm to be honest. My wife is out of control on Amazon. However, she makes a good point. Everything's there. Why do I need to go and drive and go to the store when I can just order and it comes in 2 days? That's a good point. I get it. But that's not the sole reason that the retail apocalypse is taking place, right? I mean, let's be real. Is online retailing actually the cause of brick and mortar retail apocalypse? More than 3,500 stores are scheduled to be shuttered in the next few months. JCPenney, Macy's, Sears, Kmart, Crocs, BCBC, Bebe, Abercrombie & Finch, and Guess. No, I'm not telling you to guess. The store, Guess, are some of the marquee retailing names that will be closing down malls and strip mall stores. The Limited is going out of business and closing down all 250 of its stores. The demise of the mall brick and mortar retail store is popularly attributed to the growth in online retail sales. To be sure, online retailing is eating into the traditional retail sales distribution mechanism, but not as much as the spinmeisters would have you believe. At the beginning of 2015, e-commerce sales were about 7% of total retail sales. By the end of 2016, that metric rose to 8.3%. However, looking at the overall numbers reveals that nominal retail sales have increased for both brick and mortar stores and online. In quarter 4 2015, total nominal retail sales were $1.186 trillion, brick and mortar was $1.096 trillion, and online was $89.7 billion, which was 7.6% of total retail sales. So if you look, it appears brick and mortar had more sales. I mean, look, brick and mortar sales was $1.096 trillion. This is called a cool trillion. Online was only almost, we'll round that off, $90 billion. Okay, which was 7.6% of total retail sales. In quarter 4 2016, total sales were $1.2 trillion, with brick and mortar $1.1 trillion, and online $102 billion. So again, it's 10 to 1. Retail should be out, is and has been, as far as the money's concerned, sales 10 to 1 against the online stores. So why are all these stores closing? Doesn't make sense, does it? As you can see, there was nominal growth for both brick and mortar and online retailers. My point here is that the spinmeisters present the narrative that online retailers are eating alive the brick and mortar retailers. That's simply not true. Part of the problem that the total retail sales pie is shrinking, especially when analyzing the inflation-adjusted numbers. I created a graph from the St. Louis Fed's FRED database that surprised even me. Click to enlarge, which I'm just going to take a little peek at this for you. Here we go. Retail sales versus consumer debt outstanding. So here we go. Retail sales total, excluding food services. Once again, we can't ever include food because we don't want to let people know how much we're really all spending on food. But nonetheless, retail sales is the blue one. And clearly you can see what happened in 2008 and 9. And then 2010 started to pick back up and okay, right? But here's consumer credit, i.e. debt. Red line. And then after 2008, 9, and 10, it looks a little steeper, doesn't it not? Look a little bit steeper now all of a sudden. And what do we have here? Debt or credit, again, both the same. Because if you use your credit card, you go into debt, right? You're using credit to go into debt. We crossed in 2013, roughly. 2013, consumer debt, credit, crossed with spending, retail sales or whatever, So what do we see here? We see we got a problem. And if you also look at retail sales from back in 1994, this nice little fat black line here, which way is that facing? Is it going up or down? It's going down, which would mean what? Retail sales are declining. And I would ask, in 1994, what was the population of the United States? Certainly a lot less than it is today, clearly. So with that many more people, in this country, even around the world for that matter, but in this country, way more population than 1994. Shouldn't that be going up just for the sheer fact that there's more people out there now and spending and that sort of thing? I mean, right? Nope, it's going down. It is going down, while consumer credit / debt is going up and up and up. This is not sustainable. It ends very badly. I keep telling you this. The graph above shows the year-over-year percentage change in nominal, not inflation-adjusted retail sales on a monthly basis from 93, as far back as the data goes, through February 2017, excluding restaurant sales, food, etc., versus outstanding consumer credit. As you can see, since 1994, the growth in nominal sales on a year-over-year basis has been in a downtrend, while the level of consumer credit outstanding has been in a steady uptrend. Since 2014, the rate of growth in debt has exceeded the rate of growth in retail sales. If we were to adjust the retail sales using just the government-reported CPI measure of inflation, retail sales would be outright declining. The problem with the mall business model is debt. The mall anchor retailers who are vacating mall space like cockroaches vacate a kitchen when the light is flipped on have been leveraged to the hilt by the financial engineers who control them, who in turn have been able to be the most permissive Federal Reserve, who have been enabled by the most permissive Federal Reserve in U.S. history. To be sure, online retailing is cutting into margins of Macy's, JCPenney, Sears, dealers, etc. But these companies would have no problem fighting back if they were not over-leveraged to the eyeballs. And of course, their massive rents is what we're talking about. Layer on top of that the leverage employed by the mall REITs and the recipe for a financial crisis larger than the 2008 Big Short mortgage/housing crisis has been created. To compound this problem, mall owners are now starting to mail in the keys to financially troubled malls. More mall landlords are choosing to walk away from struggling properties, leaving creditors in the lurch and posing a threat to the values of nearby real estate, as some of the largest U.S. landlords are calculating it is more advantageous to hand over ownership to the lenders than to attempt to restructure debts on properties with darkening outlooks. Now, the Webbot reports have been telling us mall space, empty space, gone, closing, empty strip malls, empty malls in the future. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And the reports have been talking about this for quite a period of time now. Am I surprised reading this? And it's happening right now, which is why I cover this stuff almost daily now, as far as the retail space and all that stuff in real estate. Not surprised at all. Webbot told us to look for it. I've been looking for it, and I didn't even have to try. It's right in our faces. This does not end well. So here's the other part. Really the title of the video. Here's the real kicker. This will crush the pensions, he says. Finally, the third invisible black swan is the looming pension crisis. A colleague of mine who works at a pension fund did a study last year in which he concluded that because of the extreme degree of public pension underfunding, a 10% decline in the stock market for a sustained period, such as maybe more than 3 or 4 months. That's not that long, honestly. 3 or 4 months of 10% decline in the stock market would cause every single public pension fund to blow up. What? As he has access to better data than most, he also surmised that the degree of underfunding is 2 to 3 times greater than is actually publicly acknowledged by the mainstream media. And see this article for assistance. Bloomberg claims $1.9 trillion underfunding. Again, I'm going to link this whole thing from Zero Hedge to you. And you can check out Dave Kranzler as well. And he is... well, actually, I think this was originally Eric Sprott actually was running with this story. But again, it's from Dave Kranzler. So, circling back to the mall and REIT ticking time bomb, when the Fed while the Fed can keep the stock market propped up as means of preventing an immediate nuclear meltdown in U.S. pensions, all of which are substantially maxed out in their mandated equities allocation, the collapse of commercial mortgage-backed securities will have the effect of launching a nuclear sub-missile directly into the side of the U.S. financial system. The commercial mortgage market is about $3 trillion, of which about $1 trillion has been packaged into asset-backed securities and stuffed into yet more yield-starved pension funds. Without a doubt, the same degree of fraud has been used to concoct the various tranches in these mortgage-backed securities trusts that was employed during the mid-2000s mortgage and housing bubble, with full cooperation of the rating agencies then and now, just like in 2008, when the derivatives that have been layered into the mix, the embedded leverage in the commercial mortgage backed security stuff, REIT model, is the financial equivalent of the Fukushima nuclear power plant collapse. It's a matter of time before a lit match hits one of the 3 lethal powder kegs described above. This is why the bank stocks were hit particularly hard last week when the Dow was in the middle of its 8-day losing streak. Of course, all it took to spike the Dow and S&P whatever higher was a couple of immaterial consumer confidence reports in order to reflate the stock market with some hope. Don't forget, the last time consumer confidence ticked that high was in 1999, right before the tech bubble imploded, which I just did a video on this the other day. The last time this happened, the markets crashed in 2000. And that, again, in this, what was the definition of this, the last time this happened was what he just said. Consumer confidence are at all-time highs. And I said then, and I'll say it now, do we not learn anything? You and I do, but we are the absolute minuscule minority. Everybody else is going to pay. Everyone else who was looking at that 401k, man, I'm sure in 2008, boy, I was scared. It took a hit. It was devastating, but man, and did it recover. I'm happy with my 401k. And guess what? You had your 401k in 2008 and you still have it today. It's going to do the same thing. So all that gain you made over the last 10 years almost now, all that gain is for naught. Because it's going to happen again and you're going to lose again. If you have any way to get out of that 401k, get the hell out. And I will also end this by saying one other thing that I've said a few times now. If you have a pension, number one, say a prayer. God help you. Number two, if you get a letter, a phone call, anything that has to do with the following, we'd like to settle with you in your pension. We're going to pay you off in full for this amount. And you look at it and say, that's a terrible amount. There's no chance in hell I'm settling on that amount. In other words, they'll give you your full pension up front, no longer give you payments. But if you take it up front, you're taking a big cut. You take that cut and you run as fast as you can. You sign that deal as fast as humanly possible. And then you go buy some precious metals and sit on them. Maybe even a few Bitcoin if you want to gamble a tiny bit. That's what I would do. But see, by the time I even had an opportunity to sign up for a 401k plan at work, which would have been 2006 or so, I was already starting to wake up a little bit, just a little bit, 2005 and 6. And I just started the job in 2005 that I'm at currently, and I wasn't getting paid anywhere near what I get paid these days. And I didn't have the skill set neither that I have these days. So in all fairness, whatever, I just wasn't making as much money. Therefore, I wasn't about to stick an additional percentage into a 401k that I, taking money out of my paycheck, I didn't want to do it. And then by the time I saw 2008 and stuff happening, there wasn't a chance in hell I was going to have a pension anyways. I already determined that in 2007 because 2007 was when I really started to realize things were kind of messed up. And that's when I started collecting silver, buying silver, 2007. So anyways, the biggest key here is the first paragraph of that last part. This will crush the pensions. Again, a colleague of mine who works at a pension fund did a study last year in which he concluded that because of the extreme degree of public pension underfunding, a simple 10% decline in the stock market for a period of 3 to 4 months is all it would take, would cause every single public pension fund to blow up. As he has access to better data than most, he also surmised that the degree of underfunding is 2 to 3 times greater than is publicly acknowledged by the mainstream media. Kind of like when we say the Social Security is underfunded, or, there's not enough there. But they don't really give us the actual number. And then when you dig, you realize it's like, especially if you add in like Medicaid and Medicare, oh, it's like $70 trillion. Well, hold on. And we're over here talking about the debt ceiling at 20 trillion, or when it was 10. No, don't bring it up $2 trillion. You guys are crazy. 10 to 12. We were flipping out. And rightfully so. We shouldn't be doing that. We should be able to pay the bills, not keep increasing our credit card limit. But nonetheless, that pales into comparison when you look at the unfunded liabilities, such as Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare, and it's $50 to $70 trillion, somewhere in that neighborhood. When you realize that, that's the equivalent of this. Oh, we have pensions. Here's what the numbers are. But when you really look at it, oh, you guys are unfunded. Yeah, we're all unfunded practically. But you're actually 2 to 3 times worse underfunded than what you showed now. That's the truth. So again, if you have any way to get out of a pension, and you have one, pay it off early, call J.G. Wentworth, anybody. J.G., listen, I got a pension. And I bet old J.G. Wentworth might even be in the understanding that, yeah, we'd like to pay off people who have monthly and weekly payments coming in. We make them a lump sum, then we take over the payments, structured stuff. We no longer accept pensions. We don't want to deal with that. I guarantee. I don't know if I should say guarantee, but I sure in hell would hope someone who works for J.G. Wentworth says, guys, we're no longer taking in pensions. We're not doing that anymore. Let's just go to the lottery renters and the people who collect from like an accidental workplace injury, and they're getting collecting from the insurance company for the next 20 years. Let's make a deal with those guys. Forget the pension stuff. We're going to get killed on that. So J.G. Wentworth, JSNIP4 here at your service. Take one for the team, giving you guys some financial advice. Even though I'm not a financial advisor, have no business giving you financial advice. I'm giving you the best advice of your life, even though I'm not a financial advisor. The experts are going to look like idiots, and guys like me and people that write the articles at Zero Hedge and all these other sites I visit are going to look like we went to the best colleges, that we knew stuff that the experts didn't know. And it's not. It's just simple math, simple charts. Here's the information. Any moron can study this stuff. But it's the job of the mainstream media, mainstream economists, Federal Reserve, to tell you everything's fine. Ooh, child, everything's gonna be all right. As your pension is being destroyed, 401ks falling off a cliff, markets are diving, real estate prices are crashing. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. No thanks. Not gonna happen. Take care.